Learning a new tabletop system can be hard, but as someone who has been learning tabletop systems for a decade now, as well as being an instructor and student for cyber defense for also a decade now, I've got a wide breadth of things that work when I'm taking on a new topic. What worked? Let's find out. Welcome back to the channel, gamers. This is the Sacred Art of Gaming, where we explore this wonderful hobby together. And thank you for hanging out with me today. So, what we're gonna do is we're going to talk about a little something I like to refer to as the crawl, walk, run method. I apply it to many things. I came up with it myself. No one has ever said it before me, I promise you. Now, generally how this works, whenever I'm instructing someone, we will talk about it. So I'll give a presentation, or maybe they'll read about it ahead of time, and then I will present to them how to do the thing, and then they will do the thing while I am there to offer assistance and guidance. You probably do this more than you realize. For example, maybe you Google, how do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Well, you look at the instructions, and then maybe you start to do it, and then you realize, well, maybe this is a little more complicated than I realized. So you watch a YouTube video of someone putting the peanut butter and jelly sandwich together, and then you say, ah, yes, the jelly and then the peanut butter. And then you do it yourself. And then you reach out to mom whenever you cut it the wrong way. Everyone knows it should be triangles. For cyber defense, very similar. This is how you set up a firewall in this book over here. Go read about it. After you go read about it, I will pull it up on the projector or whatever, Teams, and I will walk you through how I do it. And you're open to ask me questions while that happens. And then you will do it, and I will walk around to field any questions as they come up, and they will come up. And you may be wondering, hey, Sacred, this is a little different, right? You're learning a tabletop game. I'm glad you asked. You are paying attention. Yes, it is a little different, so let's get into those details. Now, this is where I would like to mention Avatar, because this really had me thinking. This game's been kicking my ass for a long time. I try it, I bounce off of it, I do something else, I try it, I bounce off of it. For those of you that know, I'm doing a little Powered by the Apocalypse experiment, we'll say, where I'm trying exclusively Powered by the Apocalypse systems, one after another, just to see how that changes how I feel about that system, but also gaming as a whole. Here are some of the things that I learned while trying to learn Avatar Legends, which was hard for me because it's fairly different from the games I tend to play. All right, first things first, and we'll use something like Index Card RPG, which I think is a perfect entry-level example. And I say entry-level, not to say the game doesn't have a lot, but because our homie, Runehammer, he does such a great job of breaking things down. Take things in small, manageable chunks. The core mechanics being a very good place to start. So we can see here that, you describe what you want to do, you roll a d20 and you add your stat. There will be a target number in this game that you need to beat, and it applies to like the whole scene. And if you meet or beat that, you're good. You can apply that to a lot of the game, pretty much the whole game, really. And then we kind of go into moving and checks and then effort. And this is pretty much the core of the game, just these 3 pages. You get this down, you're cooking. And that took maybe 5 minutes, right? So similar deal with Morkborg, although this is kind of harder because there's a lot of craziness in the book. But for all you Borg heads out there, you know that the rules are actually quite light. And they're pretty much here. Again, D20, difference being all player facing roles here. Initiative also a little different. Depending on what you roll, you determine who goes first. You only get 4 stats. There's a lot that you learn here. Now, something a little heftier, right? Let's say Pendragon. We're not going to go into all of the details in Pendragon, but a few core concepts that are a little different. D20 as well, but D20 roll under. Rolling under is actually good. Also, and this, as you can see, this book is hefty. Is this the player? Yeah, this is the core book. We're gonna go to the character sheet, which is also quite hefty. Something that you also learn not nearly as efficiently as those other 2 games, but you'll realize that, okay, here are my characteristics. You have a bunch of skills, similar to like a D100 system, but pared down to a D20. And you also have your traits. And something interesting that I want to mention about the traits is that these traits, they kind of feed off each other and they have to add up to 20. So if your cowardly is 17, that's kind of crazy. If your cowardly is 14, then your valorous is 6. If your suspicious is 11, your trusting is 9. And if those ever change, the other side changes accordingly. So just picking up on those core concepts. Now that's where we crawl. Now we're going to walk. We're going to take some of these core concepts, and I would say start with the core concepts, right? And then you're going to test those in a vacuum where you're pretty much just rolling the dice. Just let feel it. There's something that happens whenever, I guess, yeah, roll digitally too if you want, but I prefer to feel it. So something happens when you roll the dice and you go through the motions. You're writing that information into memory. And something is going to happen as you go through these little examples. Hey, I want to hit the goblin. Okay, I rolled an 11. What is my strength? Okay, it is 3. Did I hit the goblin? Yes or no? But then you may run into these off-the-wall situations where you're like, well, you know, what do I use for intimidation? Is it this skill or this skill? Is there advantage and disadvantage? All things that you start to wonder because of your bias from previous games and just your exploration of the system. So read a little bit, do a quick little demo. Read a little bit, do a quick little demo. And as you're doing those demos, questions will arise. You go back and you look it up. I do want to point out that there's a bonus tip that can be hit or miss, but it's worth mentioning. Watch YouTube videos. You can always watch a YouTube video for people breaking down the rules, which is another way for you to walk. So you'll notice that rolling the dice, moving minis, whatever you gotta do, that is stress testing your understanding, and that friction that you're feeling, you're gonna remember that, and it's gonna help you learn. Then, bonus section of the second step of walking, I would also stress test the crown jewel, we'll say, of that system. Usually the crown jewel of the system is going to be combat. That doesn't apply to every game, but it applies to most games. It applies to most games. So combat being a little bit more involved, you may wonder, like, how do you determine who goes first? How do you determine if you're able to react? How do you determine how many actions you have? How do you determine damage? Is there damage? Is there a roll to hit? Those are all things that you're gonna stress test in that little scenario within a vacuum. Now that you've done all that, now this is where we run, because we're going to now take a made-up solo scenario that is not in a vacuum. You're gonna kind of bounce around a little bit. I wouldn't stress too much about what it is. I would just, you know what, let's just take the cover here. The cover, you're going into an undead crypt that maybe there's a cult involved. That's what we're gonna do. Just make up this scenario as you go. I wouldn't stress too much about how you're soloing it and, you know, what level of expertise you may need to tell the story. Doesn't matter. You're just trying to learn the game. You just go to a random page and just go from there. So, all right, we think we're at a tomb. One of the first things you might be wondering is, can I just go in the tomb? Is the door locked? Is it worth me figuring out if the door is locked? And this is where you'll be unsure on a lot less because you have tested things within a vacuum, but there's going to be things that come up as you're interconnecting all of these different subsystems or exploration and social role-playing versus combat and how those things connect. It's going to be inevitable that you're going to be like, wait a second, I know how this works in this specific scenario, but in the actual flow of play, is this how it works? And this is where you then take that friction and then learn even more. And this is creating a higher level of understanding on a topic. You have your base level that you're learning within a vacuum and reading about it, right? I understand before I even put my hands on it, how does this work? I put my hands on it. Oh, this is how it works when it's being used in this very specific way. And then an even higher level whenever, oh, this is how it works under non-ideal circumstances. And you know what the best part about this is? Hey, guess what? You're playing the game. Maybe it's not something that you necessarily would have chose, but you're going through the motions. Another little bonus tip, and this may depend on the game. Some games, like Morkborg for example, Shadow Dark has this as well, they have character generators, so this way you can just get going. But I do find that creating a character can also help you learn the game as well. That being another step that's helpful kind of outside of the scope of play. It's like pre-play, prep one might say. But my recommendation is if you can just get some type of pre-generated character or spin something up super fast and quick just so you can start getting reps in, that would be my recommendation, just so you can get playing and get learning. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it if this was helpful for you. Comment down below and let me know any additional tips or if these tips were helpful for you, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I will see you in the next one as we continue to explore the sacred art of gaming together.